of you might know Dr. Fouzia Saeed, and if you know her well enough, you would know that when she talks about a topic, it is truly mesmerizing. There's a lot of truth and honesty in it, and I can tell you from experience that that is what I have found in this book that is being launched today, Working with Sharks, which deals with Dr. Fauzia's own experience. I could call it a series of unfortunate events which led to a very revolutionary and a positive thing. It is a complaint, sexual harassment complaint that was lodged by Dr. Fouzia and 10 of her colleagues in the United Nations, which led to big changes not only in the United Nations sexual harassment policy but also in Pakistan. Things that happen to all of us every day happened with Dr. Fouzia as well, but she has been very brave to pinpoint those things which would be included into harassment, and she has also talked about the way to deal with it. Very brave of her, I must say. Of course, we have to thank Dr. Fouzia for bringing these things to light and coming up with this great book, which is really her struggle of 10 years. Also, Amjad Minhas from Sang Publishers for being courageous enough to publish the book. Let us start with Salima Hashmi. She is an art educator. She has been associated with NCA for many years and is also now with Beacon House National University.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. This is a brave book. Although one knows that it highlights so many experiences that women have in the workplace, one is also aware how much courage it takes to actually contemplate speaking out, and then after speaking out to take action. She's also pinpointed something very important, and that is how difficult it is to take action, because so much of what occurs is just considered a part of normal social behavior. And the fact is, at one point in the book, when the head of the organization turns on the complainants and says, domestic violence is very common in Pakistan, isn't it? As if to say that you must be facing it at home, so what's the problem if there's a little bit of unequal taking advantage in the workplace? And that is precisely the kind of reaction that happens when you try to gauge whether an incident is sexual harassment or is it not, because you immediately take on the position actually of the opposition, who's going to say, oh, if a woman is bringing a case of sexual harassment, let's first look at her own conduct. In recent years, I have to say that I have found sexual harassment and the rise of extremism to somehow go hand in hand right now. And I think that I just want to hint at that, because even though the book speaks of an atmosphere which is supposed to be that of a liberal, international employer and employee situation, I can assure you that those at risk today are people not only in the street but in madrasas, in schools, in universities, in any other kind of a situation in which the oppressor is difficult to pin down and the oppressed are scarred and marred for life. I want to thank Fouzia for tackling a very difficult subject and for doing it with such ease, and I have to say, make it very easy for the reader also. And thank you for being so courageous again.
I'll invite our next speaker for the day, Sarmat Sultan Khusat, who is also very recognizable. He's an actor, he's a director, he's a writer, and right now he's going to be a speaker.
working with sharks was more like a sequel to or a parallel story that ran in her life, in her mind when she was writing Taboo. So again, I think I still found what I wanted to find. It's a great account. It's authentic. It's scary too. It's offensive too, in the sense that, well, I remember as a very young person, I going to Anarkali with my chachi, and my chachi is a perfectly Punjabi dabang woman. So somebody did something which, as a very young person, a child, I could not understand or realize, but I just remember that my chachi ran after him and held him by his hand and said, "Hun chhed tu kithe chhedna?" And that kind of stuck in my head. I did not know what happened, but that was something that kind of stayed in my heart and my mind. And after that, anytime Ammi or Chachi or some other Baji or Appa or cousin whoever wanted to go to the bazaar, there was this instinct in me that, oh, I need to be there, because something did happen which was not right. And probably the way she dealt with it as a Pakistani child, an aspiring growing up man, I also did not in my own mind approve of it. I thought that's not how she was supposed to deal with it, but exactly that's what Dr. Fouzia Saeed has done today, and I realized that that's the way you have to voice it. You have to take it to the people who probably need to understand that by just tabooing it or by just hushing it does not really settle the matter. So when we talk about sexual harassment, of course it happens. It happens everywhere. It happens in and around the world that we go through. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Tariq Rahman Sahab is next. As a speaker, he's an eminent professor from World of Academia. He's associated with the Beacon House National University as well, and he has also written many books. Please welcome.
I actually got to know Dr. Fouzia Saeed as the author of Taboo. That is a wonderful book. It is one of the best studies of prostitution in South Asia. This is a way of not only making a very daring statement to the world, but also psychologically getting free of something which is oppressed one. Of course it is a daring book, as everybody has said, and that is because of the power differential. The power differential between men and women and the value system which goes with it is so much in all of South Asia, but perhaps more so in Pakistan, that it's very difficult even to complain, let alone complain in the form of a book which everybody can read. The laws are with the men, the financial bias is with the men, even if women are earning. The attitudes and values are in favor of the men and not the women, etc. And that is perhaps the major reason for not only harassing but getting away with this kind of behavior. So it's patriarchy then. The philosophy of patriarchy, the ideology of patriarchy, which creates values which affect state functionaries. You report and the policeman doesn't bother because he's a state functionary with the same value. This whole slab of patriarchy, this huge monolith, makes it extremely difficult for a woman just to break out of the system and even report.
Let me briefly mention the Protection Against Harassment of Women at Workplace 2010 legislation that was passed. In the book, when you read it, you will find out that these 11 ladies who decided to speak out, speak against, actually looked around for some kind of policy within the United Nations framework on which to base their complaint on. And after a lot of struggle, they found it. But that became the peg of their complaint. You'll have a platform from where to start off with. Our next speaker, very eminent personality, Abdul Rauf Saab, Head of Infotainment in Geo. And please welcome.
A lot of people that we went to for this book, I mean, a lot of publishers, they refused to publish this book. I myself was in contact with a few publishers, and I don't know why, but they were so scared. We provided them with the text, with the manuscript, and still, I don't know, I mean, there is, if you have read this book, So you'll not find anything, that goes against the policy makers or the army or intelligence agencies, but still people were scared. The book is the personal account, yet it gives a glimpse of the society where it is considered that no man in the right mind can harass a woman in Islamic society. If however a man does so, then it is because a woman has charmed him to do so. Thus, the culprits of sexual harassment are the women themselves according to the set standards. In such a society, complaining against harassment is a daring thing to do. Moreover, dreaming about a law for the society of women at workplaces and realizing this dream is unbelievable. However, Dr. Fouzia does this all.